captains Brian Makmasawa for Uganda and Clinton Rubagumya for Team Rwanda, and match official Vicky Prajapati here for the toss. Heads is the call. Clinton winning the toss. What would you like to do first?
Yeah, we'll have a bat.
And why is that?
Yeah, we would like to defend the score, and we've just come in from a tough chase, and this is a chance for us to try and, of course, play better.
Any estimate amount of runs you're trying to put up against a side like Uganda?
Yeah, we know with Uganda anything below 150, 160, they'll of course fancy their same, so we want to get somewhere around that 160.
Any changes to your side?
Yeah, Zapi, Martin, and of course Didier with the injury all are out. Israel comes in, Oscar comes in as well.
All right, thank you. All the best. Brian, having lost the toss, if you had won the toss, what would you like to do first?
I'd probably have had a bat as well. Looks like the kind of wicket where if you get a score on, you can put them under a bit of pressure.
And what sort of a total are you looking forward to do here?
Well, we're not batting, so we'll just try and restrict them to as low as possible. It's a fresh wicket, so hopefully our seamers can get something out of it. Looks like it's taking a bit of turn as well, so I think our spinners will come into play.
Any changes to your side?
Yes, Jonathan gets a break, Bilal as well, and Siraj gets another look.
And being amongst the table toppers here, what's the sort of approach to this game?
For us, every game is pretty much the same. Doesn't matter whether we're at the top of the table or at the bottom. We approach each game the same way, try to bring the same intensity, and look to go out there, execute our process, and try and win the game.
Thank you. All the best. So that's it from the middle. Clinton Rubagumya and Rwanda winning the toss and elected to bowl first.
This is first boundary for Team Rwanda. Eric Singisman taking David Wabile. This is only 6-0 in this over. That is inside edge, straight to boundary. There is no fielder to stop it. That's a fourth delivery for David Wabile. Eric Singisman on strike. Good shot. It was too wide. Straight to boundary. That's a first, second boundary for Team Rwanda. That's a good intention for it. That was a good ball, but also Eric take it by 1 run. That allows Oscar Manshimwe to strike. Now it's only 1-in-1 delivery to Oscar Manshimwe. So another single there. It's only 12 runs in this over. Eric 9 of 4 delivery. Oscar Manshimwe 2 of 2. That's a good time to have Zed in commentary box. Welcome, Zed, in this afternoon game.
Good afternoon and welcome everybody once again. Thank you very much, Rosine, for being here. The first over. We were supposed to be here with Bob Bashir Songa, but unfortunately he's not feeling well. He's got flu today, so he'll be keeping away from the commentary box for our own safety and his safety. Wishing him a swift recovery. See him soon in the commentary box. But for now, Team Rwanda over number 1, 12 runs. Second over by Alpesh Ramjani. There was a loud appeal there. I would love to see that again on replay if possible. Clinton Rubagumya winning the toss, electing to bat first, having a few of their players out due to injuries. Eric Dusingizimana on 9 of 4, having not put anything on board in the first game. Misfield there by Uganda, resulting into yet another boundary. What do you think about this approach by Team Rwanda this afternoon, playing against Team Uganda, Rosine?
This is a good approach for them to have a big score than how they scored for the last games, because that's also the game they started with a good score without losing any wicket in the first over.
Tight line there by Alpesh Ramjani, bowling and beating the outside edge of Oscar Manishimwe. Interesting enough, Oscar Manishimwe has been promoted to opening, and he's on 6 of 7 deliveries. Did you ever expect this coming out of Team Rwanda?
No, it was unexpected from me, but we saw these coaches using a different approach. Maybe he's searching which is best opening players. That's why he's trying each and everyone to see who will be fit in this first crew of 6 overs. But Manshime today is one of the candidates. Let's see how is he gonna use his chance.
I mean, given the amount of games Team Rwanda is left with, it leaves all the opportunities possible with the coach to experiment whichever configuration of batsmen he wants to pump into the opening side, try to get some bargain out of the games left, because honestly speaking, Team Rwanda from here on stand less or no chance of making it to the finals from here on, if you think about the performances they've been playing. So it gives all the luxury to the coach to try out all the combinations possible and see which one will be fruitful. We saw early on in this tournament Kevin Irakoze being provided the opportunity, and the way he batted against Tanzania that day, scoring his ever highest 61, was remarkable of the big man. But after that, he's been just quiet. This time around, hard hands by Eric Dusingizimana. The ball was in the air for quite some time there. The fielder not really approaching the ball eagerly. Should have been taken. And the captain, none other than the fielder, none other than the captain there, Brian Masaba, not having a quick start. David Wabiri, the speedster, coming from the road end. Flat batted and catch taken. Alpesh Ramjani catches that brilliantly, falls on his back and doesn't let the ball slip out. Brilliantly done there. Team Uganda rejoice. The first wicket of Eric Dusingizimana. Not a good day at the office he's had here. And again, that front foot going across the line and flat batted shot not getting enough elevation to cross the infield, resulting into the fall of the first wicket. Very, very identical to that in the morning and last time they got a chance to play. Struggles continue for the former Rwandan skipper, and that allows Wilson Nitanga to have a walk out to the middle. David Wabiri has given away 12 runs in his first over, but picks up a wicket in his second over, the third ball, and that too a price wicket of Eric Dusingizimana. Not much damage done by the Rwandan side so far. 16 runs on board for the loss of 1. 3 deliveries left in this over here. Rosine, if you were the coach, what would you advise Wilson Nitanga and Oscar Manishimwe to do here and carry the side forward?
What I can advise them is just to take this game serious, and then they rotate strike. Try to give themselves time to be on that wicket. If the ball for boundary comes, take them, then stay on the wicket, not giving them their wicket sheepry.
That one just a dab down to third man. Subuga Siraj picks that up and chucks it back to the keeper. Just 1 run picked up there. animated appeal there by the Ugandans in search of the second wicket, but the umpire shook his head. Wilson's bat was already inside the line there, so a safe and neat call by the umpire. And there you have it, the Tanzanians having a rest. And you see the Rwanda women's national team players also having an eye. You see Merveille Ouasse there. Messi and Cynthia there watching the game of the men's, trying to learn and see what they can adapt from these games of the national side men's, and also support the boys out there. Plays it down leg side. Lovely shot that in the gap, and that will reach to the boundary ropes in no time. Alongside me in the commentary box, I've got a guest with me. Norbert, you've been part of the officials here in the East African Trophy. Take us through how the experience has been for you. And Irera Rosin here will be asking you some questions too. Thank you, Zaid. Thank you, Zaid, and again, Rosin, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Happy to be a part of this. So far, I would say everything's going smoothly. There's been a couple of days where there's been great cricket. We've seen all sorts of scores. We've seen all sorts of chases, run chases. We've seen all sorts of defenses. And the team seem to be putting in a really good fight, which is great to see from a spectator's point of view.
Okay, that's a good opportunity to have you, Abby. That's a good game again, but there is a question here. What do you use as a Ugandan team to be in a good position you are at this moment? Another good shot from Oscar Manshimwe, straight one, none other than who can stop it except driver and the Lord. That was a good one.
Thank you, Rosin. To answer your question, Team Uganda takes every game as a new game. It's always a learning process for them, just like we have seen. Every day is a new challenge. Every day is an opportunity to learn, which is something that the players take seriously. And as you can see, when they come to play, they give it their all.
We'll say that's a good one. Maybe most of the teams, if they win today, they go and they take it. It's a continuous process, but he told us Ugandan team take each and every game as a learning curve. That is the end of fourth over, 31 for 1. Rwanda yet ball to bat. Oscar Manshimwe 15 in 15 delivery. Wilson Itanga 1 in 2 balls. Alpesh Ramjan and his second over by given way 17 runs. That's also good intention for Rwanda. They stepped out by so now another over from David Wabule. It's his third over. It's first delivery. Now dots ball. He dotted Wilson, which takes him to 3 delivery with only 1 run. What can you say about this, Abby? How is Rwanda behaving at this moment?
Well, 31 runs in 31 runs off 31 runs off 3.2 balls is 3.2 overs is quite a statement from Rwanda. We have seen Rwanda has been a little bit timid with their batting, but we haven't really seen them set a score as yet. And coming up against the table toppers, Uganda, for them to have 31, having lost only just the one wicket, it shows grit, it shows intent. And as speaking of, there's another boundary from Wilson off the bowling of David Wabwire. As you can see, Rwanda have gone in there with purpose. They know that to beat Uganda, they're going to have to set a big score. And that seems like it's what they're doing right now.
That's it, true. You are saying very, very good one, because we have seen Ugandan team smashing the ball all over the cricket over number 2 of Gahanga, because they are good at using their feet. Their batting is well setted, because their shot selection is brilliant than how London it is. That's what I have told Zed. The batters of Rwanda are not bad, but their selection of shot is poor. That's what they have to step up with.
I agree with you, Rosin. It all comes down to shot selection. But then again, when you're facing off against bowlers such as David, when you have bowlers such as Siraja on the side, you have Kenneth Waiswa, the leading wicket taker, you're going to have to select your shots. You're going to have to select your shots. You're going to have to play with a bit of brains to make sure that you do not throw away your wicket. And so far, so good. 37 runs in the power play for the loss of one wicket. I would say Rwanda look well into scoring about 150 runs that they believe they can defend against Uganda.
Good fielding there from Lamjan, and good shot from Oscar Manshim, where the balls bounce high, but he also jumped over and tried to hit it down to protect his wicket. Today he's looking well with bat. That's the end of 5th over. 7 runs for 1. Oscar Manshimwe leading us, and Wilson Itang. David Wabwile giving away 20 runs in his 3 overs. Good figure for him again.
Alpesh Ramjani back into the attack to bowl the penultimate over of the power play. And with his very fast delivery, he appeals for LBW, to which the umpire responds and says, yes, you're out. He's given his marching orders. Oscar Manishimwe has to walk. That leaves Rwanda in a bind, putting them down 2 wickets. And Oscar seems a little adamant, but he knows he cannot dispute what the umpire has said.
This wicket let the work that come in to control this inning with Wilson Itang. I saw him in morning. He was just try to push runs through. Now it's Alpesh Lamjan bowling wickets for his first delivery. Now 5 deliveries remains in his third overs. Rockday stepped out, then the wicket falls. That's a consistent bowling from Alpesh Lamjan. This is led Rwanda to lose their third wicket. Rockday does nothing at this moment. That's also bad moment for Rwanda because losing wicket with no run, it's a bad thing.
Rosine, when we spoke earlier, I did mention that with every single game, Uganda is learning. And from the takeaways, we've seen Orchide is a good batter. And to that effect, you have seen that he did not seem to take a lesson from all these past games. Very fast ball facing against the very dangerous Alpesh Ramjani. He comes down the track, misses the ball, and is bowled, clean bowled. Now that puts Alpesh with 2 wickets in 2 balls, with a chance to pick a hat-trick, which would be the second hat-trick in the tournament, with Kenneth Waiswa of Uganda claiming the first one on opening day against Rwanda. And Alpesh here would be looking to emulate his colleague on the team.
Now Lubagumya comes in. Is with Wilso. That's Lamjan is on hat-trick. Let's see whether he's gonna take it or not. That's only Clinton Lubagumya who is going to determine it because it's on one who is on strike.
Big appeal from Alpesh, but that goes begging. The umpire is confident that that wasn't going to hit the wickets, so he says not out, and Alpesh gets to miss on his hat-trick. But the over still remains intact. 3 balls gone. This could be maiden wicket. We are yet to see. Bowls it straight to the batter. It's punched back to him, and that makes it 4 balls, 2 wickets. Alpesh is on a roll here. And does Clinton have the answers that Alpesh is asking? Oh. Big turn there. Beats the wicket keeper. Beats the wickets. Beats the batter. And it beats the ropes. That's 4 byes, which is unfortunate for Alpesh, who seems to have been going on well. Oh, that was big, very big. Ball pitches, middle, beats the off stump, beats everyone, and races to the boundary. With the new wicket, that seems to be turning quite a lot. We've seen Alpesh he is out there trying to exploit every crevice, every bit of grass that is on that pitch to his advantage. And he's finished his 3 overs, 17 runs, 2 wickets. Beautifully bowled, and Rwanda seem to be stagnated at 41 after 6 overs. Rosine will be taking a breather, and coming back into the comms box is Zaid. Welcome back, Zaid.
Thank you. Great exploitation, and what an over this has been by Alpesh Ramjani so far. Just that odd 4 given away courtesy of a leg bye, but it's due to the significant amount of turn that he's getting out of the pitch. Spinners have been getting great bargain out of this wicket since the first game today morning, especially from the road end, because there seems to be a dry patch on the pitch there, which allows the spinners to access that amount of turn and bounce. And again, the likes of Alpesh Ramjani, who can turn the ball square off the wicket. You've got to be really, really careful. You saw Orkide Tuisenge trying to blast that ball. And again, the ball is in the air. Roger Mukasa takes a brilliant catch. Papa, as they know him in the Ugandan side. And another wicket goes down for Team Rwanda. The fourth wicket. And this time off the second ball of Henry Senyundo. Wilson Nitanga has to depart for his single digit 6 of 8. And now the man walking in, who's been rested for a few games, is Eric Nyomugabo. He's been going through a rough phase himself, so the coach decided to give him some time to work upon certain aspects of his game. Let's hope and see he's worked upon those and puts up something remarkable worth his name on it. And now you've got two fresh legs. The skipper Clinton Rubagumya and Eric Nyomugabo. Eric Nyomugabo, 4 matches, 3 innings. Not much he has done in this tournament so far. He would like to put up some numbers this afternoon. No, but seeing the sort of dominance Uganda has been having throughout this tournament so far, what do you think about their approach every game, trying to earn more and more out of this tournament?
That's a good question, Zaid. But in my opinion, when with the World Cup qualifiers coming up not too long in the near future, I think Team Uganda goes in there to every single game knowing that much as they're playing the same opponent they have faced in the last couple of days, they have chosen to take it as a different game, looking at it in a different perspective, that anything can go their way or it couldn't go their way. So to them, it's pretty much just about getting in there, dotting the I's, crossing the T's, and making sure that they come out on top. Like they say, there is really no rest for the champion, and they're playing like champions right now, despite the huge gap in the standings.
The viewers here waiting for some action so that they can show appreciation here to the Rwandan side. 7 overs are done here, 42 runs on board, having lost 4 wickets. Team Rwanda, the skipper, is yet to open up his account after having faced 7 deliveries. And that last shot you saw him play is extremely risky, especially if you've not yet opened your account. Tried to reverse sweep a ball, a spinner was coming into your stumps with fielders close by. Not quite sure if it is wise or not to pull off that shot. And speaking about that catch by Papa, Roger Mukasa running backwards and making it look so easy. You've been part of this game, no, but how difficult are those chances?
Quite difficult, I must say. When you looked at that catch, in the eyes of everyone else, it did not look like the simplest of catches to take. but you could see that he was confident in himself, and he knew for a fact that these were chances that he has to take, something that we have seen Team Uganda do so often in the tournament. They haven't really missed out on so many chances. I do not want to make comparisons to other teams, but as far as the fielding is concerned, I would say Uganda are doing a great job in their outfield, making sure that every catch is taken, every ball that's on the ground is stopped. It's just a matter of stopping everything, getting the teams to score as little as they can, make it easy for their batters.
And again, coming into this competition, this particular competition this afternoon, the Rwandan side is having a double header. The second game missing out on their key players, Didier Zapibi Menyimana and the dangerous Martin Akayezu, who provided us with that very scary short stay at the crease he had, where he blasted a brilliant cameo. It's going to be a different ball game for Team Rwanda this afternoon.
A little bit of miscommunication there between the batters. Clinton seemed to be quite certain that he could steal a single from that ball, but Eric was rooted in his crease. He only thought about moving out a little too late when the ball was already in the fielder's hands.
I guess the pressure is getting to the captain here, having faced 12 deliveries. Those are 2 overs. If I'm to put that in perspective, so much damage can be done in 12 legal deliveries. We are playing the T20 format of the game here, so you've got to attack and stay ahead in your strike rate if you're to put up a reputable score, a defendable score, because a team like Uganda will not settle for anything below par. And the seniors in the Ugandan side, again, they've been leading from the front. Played on the offside, was in the air but landed safely there. And again, Uganda being the top side in this tournament so far allows the management to try out a multiple array of variations within the team list, providing individuals opportunities to show their game. We've got the likes of young Pascal, Siraj, Subuga Siraj, and where and how to play them along. We've seen maturity by the senior side. And someone in the Rwandan side has to step up and take that role. Yes, Eric Dusingizimana, senior in terms as many as caps he's got to himself, but not in the way that he carries the game along. After that 50 in the initial game of the tournament, he's been having a tough time out there in the middle. You've seen him getting out in similar fashion on multiple occasions. Not quite sure if these players go back and have a review of what they did. Sometimes visually you can correct yourself if you see a recording of yourself.
You know, Zaid, they always say that the best teams in the world in any sport are ruthless. And we've seen that side of ruthlessness among the Ugandans. Speaking of Rwanda, Rwanda seems to be a little bit lackluster in their batting, in their fielding, in their bowling. To them, it seems,
Powerfully struck down the ground. Clinton Rubagumya finally gets a hold of one, and it has gone the distance. Henry Senyundo had a brilliant over, and now we've got Subuga Siraj, who's been dispatched down the ground for a maximum And knowing the kind of fighter Subuga Siraj is, this is going to be an interesting over. Subuga Siraj, who's one of those players who keeps traveling to Rwanda for the domestic league over here. He is no guest. He's been around multiple times. He knows these players well. He's faced Clinton plenty on occasions and plays with the same man you see on the screen, Eric Nyomugabo. They both play for a team known as Challengers Cricket Club here in Rwanda. And again, it's in the air and has gone the distance into the parking lot. Second maximum of the over off the blade of the skipper. Was that the second or the first one was Eric?
First one was Eric.
I beg your pardon. The first one was hit down the ground by Eric Nyomugabo, his teammate in challenges. And now the national captain of Rwanda, Clinton Rubagumya, lets him know I can do that too. This time laps him, tries to be cheeky, and they pick up 2 runs here. Expensive over, I must say.
I agree. 16 off the over with just a ball to play. Who knows, this could actually get to 20 in the over. But the captain, Clinton, seems to have gotten his flight wings. He's playing with a lot more confidence now. 9 of 18, considering he barely scored anything after facing 12 deliveries.
10 overs done here. Thank you very, very much for joining us in the commentary box, Norbert. And now I'll be joined by the head coach of the Ugandan side, Mr. Lawrence Matlani. Welcome to the commentary box. Coach, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon. Good to be back in the commentary box.
How's the game going this afternoon for you and your boys?
Yeah, there have been a couple of moments. Thought we didn't start too well with the ball, but we brought it back quite nicely in the middle. And Rwanda at the moment starting to build a bit of momentum.
It's a nice little partnership building up between Clinton Rubagumya and Eric Nyomugabo, who's been given an opportunity here. Opportunity been given here to Eric Nyomugabo. Speaking of opportunities, your side, you've got a couple of changes to it and providing those opportunities to the youngsters, the likes of Pascal Murunji, Subuga Siraj. Is it because your side is at the top at the moment, or would you have done that whether it was at the bottom?
Yeah, I think it's important to build experience. I think firstly we want to be thanking the board for allowing us to play so much cricket, and it allows the boys to face a bit of experience in international cricket.
Very well said. And again, this competition of East Africa Trophy, is it a sort of a platform where your boys are getting prepped up for the upcoming tournament?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest challenges we face as associate nations is trying to build depth and experience at the same time. So
Again, tries the reverse and gets decent amount of value out of it. They run around for a double. Good over there by Henry Senyundo. That takes Rwanda to 68 for 4 at the end of the 11th over.
Yeah, so trying to build experience. I think if I look over the last 3 years at some of the crucial ICC tournaments when we lost Deus Mohomoza before the Challenge B in Uganda, we lost Brian Masaba and Deus before the World Cup qualifiers in Zimbabwe. And we lost Brian for the qualifiers in Jersey. So once you lose that kind of experience, it's important that the next guy coming in has had some kind of experience. So it's important to keep encouraging and fostering experience within the group.
Having a chat with you earlier on about the healthy headache you've got as the Uganda coach of living out your key players back at home, the likes of Rizu, the likes of Franco, the most experienced players for the side.
Yeah, I think it's an opportunity for the youngsters. We know what Rizu, Dinesh, Franco can do. Obviously, Cosmos and Juma still recovering from injury. Robinson, very unlucky not to be here. Baguma still at school.
Brian Masaba coming from the road end. With a fall of wickets, the captain taking the attack on himself. Usually you'd find the likes of takes the aerial route, couple of bounces, and Roger picks that up, chucks it back to the bowler there. Brian Masaba taking this opportunity to bring himself into the bowling. Well, you've got the likes of Kenneth Waiswa, the leading wicket taker in this tournament for Uganda. Where do you see this run inside leading at the end of this tournament?
Yeah, I think Rwanda have had some very good performances, a couple of close ones against Tanzania, and unfortunately also a couple of injuries. So a bit of review to be done for them. They've got the Africa Cup qualifiers happening now in Johannesburg, and obviously also building for the World Cup qualifiers later in the year.
And if you to compare this run inside with the run inside that played in Nairobi earlier, a couple of months ago, what sort of difference do you see in that side and in this side?
Yeah, I think one of the key differences is obviously they're at home, and again, as the over ends, it's 74 for 4 after 12 overs. Yeah, I think being at home, it's quite an interesting one because you could be under pressure in that there's so much more expectation because you know the conditions, you play here regularly, and also your loved ones are in the ground, so they're all sitting in the stand watching you, and you want to do a bit better. I thought there was some very good cricket played. They took Kenya right to the wire, and games between Rwanda and Botswana were always entertaining, given that Rwanda ranked 62nd, Botswana in the 40s. So it's good to see the guys really putting their hand up and performing.
My final question to you, sir. If you were to pick your favorites out of this run inside, take us through those three.
Yeah, it's a very hard question. It has a very good shot that time by the captain, inside out, Butterworth given, and jumping on it. It's always a hard question for the opposition coach to rate. I think they're a very good side. I can say positives about every player in the Rwandan side. I think they're a growing side. and with time, they'll be very competitive. Unfortunately, some of the results haven't gone their way. It could easily be 4 wins for them this tournament so far.
Yes, the margins have been really small, especially against Team Tanzania, and coach not giving too much out, just a slice, but well appreciated here in the commentary box. Thank you very much for that.
I thought I summed it up beautifully, personally.
It's coded for all the information that we've been receiving. Got whole of that, and it's gone into the banana plantation there next to the church. Got underneath it, held his shape. Eric Nyamugabo turning on the switches here. Beautiful looking shot that.
Yeah, a bit of momentum being built here. That one not turning at all and allowing him to get the full face. So, again, we spoke about this partnership when we were getting in, and it's been very good so far.
He's been having, unfortunate there, lack of communication. And Eric Nyamugabo runs out. Clinton Rubagumia there. The skipper will have to leave.
Yeah, very unfortunate. I think the skipper wanted a piece of that. He played a very good shot at the beginning of the over. And there was another good shot prior to that delivery. So as the momentum, we're talking about it, about the shift in momentum in this game. And unfortunate to have that run out. Calmness by the experienced Raja Mukasa.
Very, very well done there. And it's Eric Nyamugabo who's got to leave. Had it tangled up earlier on. I thought Eric Nyamugabo had thrown the captain under the bus there. But it's actually the skipper. And he's going to be joined by the big boy, Kevin Irakoze. Coming in, we've got to see some big shots by Kevin in the course of this tournament. But he's been getting out to top edges of lately. Not moving that front foot in the right direction. Eventful over this by Henry Senyondo. He's gone for 20. And this is the last delivery of his spell. With that, I'd like to thank Lawrence Madlani, the coach of Uganda, for joining us in the commentary box. And once he's done, I've been joined by the coach of the Rwanda national side now, Lee Booth, back into the commentary box. Welcome back, sir.
Good afternoon, Mirawe.
Miriwe Neza, his side, half of it back into the dugout with 86 on board there. What are the positives do you pick out of that as a coach?
Well, until that run out, I thought a nice little rebuilding job by the two out there. Again, lost two wickets early on in that power play, but I'm still convinced that's the way we have to play against teams like Uganda, these stronger sides. We've got to attack early, and then we've talked about if it doesn't work, if it isn't our day, hanging in there and giving ourselves a chance in the game. So Neo's not had a lot of opportunities recently, so it's a real shame to have seen him run out there as he was looking in a bit of form.
Yes, he's been out of form for a long time, and this is the best cricket he's played in the past few innings. And really, really unfortunate to see him get out that way. We saw him club one into the banana plantation there next to the Gahanga field here.
Yeah, real shame, but nice to see what he's capable of there. You know, we've talked a lot as the squad about we need to, have more power, hit more boundaries. So a positive little start there with a few clean hits. Again, we thought it was building nicely. Clinton at one end, just rotating well, and him striking. So hopefully the big man can continue that job, and we'll, put up a fighting total.
that partnership the main reason why the captain Clinton Rubagumia has got into the 20s now, because of the support he was getting by Eric Nyamugabo. And from here on, we've got Kevin Irakoze, 14th over running at the moment. As a coach, you'd like to see your side play out the full 20 overs.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's exactly that. A lot we've talked about this kind of hanging in the game now. So you never know if we can get to that 130, 140 mark. We saw this morning that was, nearly enough. That sort of scores. Yes, 2 days ago against Tanzania. We know it's unlikely to be enough against this really strong Ugandan side, but you've got to give yourself a chance to win the game. And then our next job is to, tip over the line.
And I'm keen to ask you about the injured players in your side and how do you deal with that?
Yeah, well, I think I can't imagine we'll be seeing Didier again, unfortunately. I've heard news from the hospital that he's, there's no serious damage, hopefully. But again, you've got to be really careful after a blow on the head like that. So under concussion, he's going to miss, I'm sure, a week or so of any kind of active practice. And then with 2 balls to spare, it was really a shame to see Martin stretching for that ball and injuring his shoulder again. So that was a niggling concern he had throughout the tournament in Kenya. Obviously, he's re-injured it again today. And also Zap is pulling up with a slightly injured shoulder. So, yeah, we knew it was going to be tough with plenty of games in not many days and a short turnaround before we head to South Africa. But you've always got to realise this gives opportunities to others in the squad.
Well, just having a conversation earlier with Lawrence Mahatlani about the Ugandan side and how they've left out 7 of their main players back at home and not having brought them into this competition. That is a very, very nice headache to have as a coach. So coming into the Rwandan side, we've got a couple of injured players. The headache that comes to you comes in form as a negative one, as where you're to seek out an option.
Yeah, and that's what's going to be a tough challenge. We haven't got that sort of depth of numbers of these other nations, but we've got to make sure that when we do bring one of the young lads into the squad, we look after them, we coach them up as fast as possible and get them to catch up. There were lots of positives from the team that travelled to Uganda to play in the Bat Ball X. So a couple of exciting fast bowling options there, another couple of left arm options that are around and about that we probably need to look at because we don't have a lot of variety again with Ignace being out long term now. So yeah, we've got to make sure that what we do is when these young lads get their opportunity, we look after them as best as possible and fast track them to be successful sooner rather than later.
And one last question before I allow you to go join your dugout once again. You're about to have yet another tournament right after this. So what sort of preparation does this tournament assist you with?
I think it's a bit of a double-edged sword. So obviously we've always talked that one thing we need as a unit is more matches and more matches. So we're certainly obviously getting plenty of matches. I think, from a long-term kind of goal for me as a coach would be we need to really concentrate on how we work on competition, training and rest. So there's not been a lot of time for rest recently. 3 pretty back-to-back tournaments. Didn't get to see the boys, a lot of them in the middle of it. It was national exams, a lot of them are students. So really it's a bit disjointed in our preparation, but we are learning all the time. So maybe while we're losing out with a bit of physicality here and picking up a few knocks, we are hopefully learning when we get into positions like we got 2 days ago, like we gave ourselves a bit of a chance today. Those are, the experience that will come with that will again help tip us over the line with any luck.
All right. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure having you in the commentary box.
Absolutely no problem. Go well, and I'll catch you all later.
Thank you very much. And that was the head coach of Team Rwanda, Lee Booth. He'll be joining his dugout now. And I'll have Norbert with me back in the commentary box. Rwanda 92 for 5. And into the 15th over, we've got Kevin Irakoze and the skipper Clinton Rubagumia on 24 of 33. Kenneth Waiswa, his first over, he's given away just 2 runs so far. The leading wicket taker for Team Uganda. The man who does the magic, who pulls out the rabbit out of the hat for Team Uganda. He's facing Kevin Irakoze, the big man who's got a big swing.
I think you and I can both agree that each time the captain hands the ball to Kenneth, batters on the crease often have that mindset that this could be the guy that takes me, because they know just how good he is with his cutters, with his variety in pace. I mean, he is the one bowler that the captain of Uganda knows he can always turn to, and he can always pull that rabbit out of the hat.
Well, not just in terms of bowling. As a complete player, he's a player you would never mind having in your squad. He can do it with the bat. We've seen him play a very, very mature innings, that against Team Tanzania. We saw him build it up. He took the last over for 30 runs, the biggest over of this tournament.
Prior to that, Kenneth did seem to struggle a little with the bat. As we saw in the earlier games, he did seem to have a little bit of trouble. We couldn't really attribute it to the wickets, no, but he seemed to have got his groove. Went on to score brilliantly in both games on the day, contributing massively for his team with both the bat and the ball, like we have come to know him to be, the kind of a player we've always known.
We were just having a conversation earlier on with the head coach. He's been talking about the opportunities he's giving out to the young lads, allowing them to open up their arms, bring out that raw pace. And again, I've always spoken about this from Kenneth Waiswa. He's a bowler with deceivingly quick pace. You do not expect him to be that quick when you see him charging in, but once the ball pitches, it literally disappears, vanishes.
Yeah.
Off the pitch, he's got decent amount of pace.
He is brilliant, really. I think we've just seen it in the previous over. We've often seen Kevin smash any bowler, be it a pace bowler or a spinner, out of the park, but he seemed to have literally missed every single delivery that he faced off of Kenneth. And when you speak about the pace of Kenneth's bowling, it's not something. It's something that I would say catches the batters unaware. Something that you do not go to the nets to practice for. No.
And speaking of bowling, this man here, the captain, Brian Masaba, coming in to bowl. His third over is a statement in itself when he's got plenty of options around him. Bowls a half tracker and powerfully strikes it back. One bounce and into the hands. What a return that was. Excellent cricket all around, I must say.
Beautiful cricket. And Kevin just checking with the bowler to see that he's all right, because he knows just how hard he hit that ball. Captain Brian says, yes, I'm all right. Let's get ready to face this next one.
Big man Kevin, he's got the power, but all he's missing is the right placement and timing behind that. Sometimes in cricket, the cricketing gods do not bless you with everything all at once. You've got to work your way through and get it all balanced. This time, played it on the off. by the captain. Clinton Rubagumya takes on the arm of the fielder from the deep, and they make back 2 runs comfortably. End of the 16th over, Rwanda 2 runs shy of the 3 digits. The score is 98 for 5 at the end of the 16th over. Clinton Rubagumya, 28 of 38. A slow innings, a one-day type of innings for the skipper. And Kevin Irakoze, the big man out there who loves smashing the ball a distant, is still hesitant out there in the middle.
Yeah, we've seen Clinton. Clinton has taken it upon himself to stick it in there to make sure that his team total keeps climbing. We have seen, as showcased in the very first game, where Rwanda lost a total of 7 wickets for only 10 runs against the same Ugandan bowling side. Oh,
And knocks him over. Cometh the hour, cometh the man. Kenneth Waiswa, the most dependable bowler for the Ugandan side. Whenever the captain is in search for a wicket, he hands him the ball and he does deliver. This time around, Kevin Irakoze has to depart for just 5 runs off 8 deliveries. He swung the bat hard with no clue where the ball is pitching and in which line.
and we've seen Kenneth often relish the opportunity to bowl to batters that love to hit that ball. We can say he's not shy to deliver it to any batter, knowing that he can be hit, but he often knows that should they miss, they'll be gone. We both know, Zed, how hard and how far Kevin can hit that ball. But this time round, the race was won by Kenneth, beaten for pace again, and Kevin had to depart, unfortunately.
Lovely looking delivery that was. It is a dream delivery for a right arm paceman, swinging in full of length and knocks off the off stump. And now we've got Emmanuel Sebareme coming in. 8 matches, 6 innings, 70 runs to his name, highest of 34, 14 average to his name. Kenneth Waiswa picks up a wicket off the first ball. How many times have we seen this throughout this tournament? A bowler comes in and picks up a wicket off the very first delivery that he goes through.
I think it has been the norm for Kenneth. It has really been fascinating to watch him bowl. And each time he picks a wicket, we often know that there could be 1 or 2 more to follow in the same over. Oh, and he's beaten. Straight down through covers. Henry Senyondo gets down, but he's beaten by that ball. And Severeme is able to take 2 runs off of that to get him off the mark.
Henry Senyundo amongst the players, amongst the very few players that the Ugandan side has to hide within the field here. Not the fittest of them all. He's had his rough time in the field, but he's got to work on that. Yes, he does benefit the team with the bowling, but apart from that, when it comes to the field, there is no room for such mistakes.
Yeah, we've often seen 1 or 2 balls sail past him. Definitely not the most dependable fielder in the cover position, but the bowler, the captains, they all seem to be comfortable knowing that Kenneth is not going to bowl anything that will be overly hit through the covers.
That's a great understanding of the captain and of the bowler, because the misfields do catch attention here. Within this tournament, 2 people have been associated with that. In fact, make it 3. I can name them all from each team. We've got Sinyundo from Uganda. We've got big boy Kevin from Team Rwanda, who just dropped a catch today's morning game. And then finally, for Team Tanzania, we've got Sanjay Kumar, boom, who scored a brilliant 44 off 19, but gifted away 26 runs with misfields by him alone.
You know, there's a little bit of a pattern in there. All the three players that you mentioned obviously turn out to be spinners of the ball. You would think a spinner has the mindset, the quick mind, to be able to think quickly, calculate quickly on the field, stop the balls, save the runs. But turns out it's not the case for the three that you just mentioned.
Are you trying to prove the theory of saying if you bowl slow, you feel slow?
Those are not my words. Those are not my words, but in this case, I would say the shoe fits, and it will have to be worn properly by the three that you mentioned. However, we cannot dismiss the fact that the three are brilliant players, brilliant with the ball, as we have seen for their teams. Brilliant with the bat in Kevin's case, and Sanjay. We haven't seen Henry bat in the tournament except for the one game where he walked on to face single delivery. But all in all, we must agree that despite the shortcomings on the field, they are brilliant individuals.
Excellent players, excellent players. There's a reason they've made it to the national team, and which is no short of any applause and respect. Kudos to all three. Coming back to the game, Rwanda has crossed the 100 mark, 102 on board, into the 18th over, and well caught there. Clinton Rubagumya's stay out there in the middle comes to an end. 28 of 38. He's been stuck on 28 for a very, very long time now, and his miseries come to an end with that catch. What a nova, what a spell has Brian Masaba bowled here. Look at those figures. He's done with 3 overs, just 14 runs. He's picked up a wicket.
From one captain to the other. And with Brian continuing to bowl 3 overs, 14 runs, 1 wicket.
Again, a wicket off the first ball. Plays it on the leg side, rotating the strike. And now the new man in with Emmanuel Sebereme is Emil Rukiriza. Interesting partnership this is going to be.
I think it is also important to note that the last time these two sides faced off against each other, with Brian bowling to Emmanuel, there was that over that Emmanuel took Brian on for 3 maximums before he eventually lost his wicket. And chance goes big in there. The opportunity for Brian to pick Severeme off the very first ball that he faces off Brian goes begging.
Apart from that little partnership between Clinton Rubagumya and Eric Nyumugabo, there hasn't been any solid partnership for Team Rwanda here. So, yes, remaining with the last 3 overs, if this partnership can pile upon few important runs, a powerful cameo. It'd be very, very interesting to see.
I wish the camera could have focused on them.
He doesn't care about the game. He's just there flipping bottles like a fucking. In the air, lands safely, will pick up just a single there. Within the infield, we've got the notorious Subuga Siraj, was always taking a jive at the Rwandan players, as he is in Rwanda and he plays against them in their domestic league here.
His teammates are often teasing him about how much at home he is. Sometimes they will often joke around and tell him to translate a few words into Rwandese, which obviously he doesn't know, but all part of the fun and games in the team. Brian Masava, we should note, just finished bowling 4 overs, only conceded 18 runs and picked a wicket, the all-important wicket of Clinton, the captain of Rwanda, which leaves Rwanda 106 for 7 of 18.
And now Kenneth Waiswa from the mountain, bowling to Emmanuel Sebareme, takes a shimmy down the ground and misses the ball completely, tries to flat bat it out of Gahanga here. No connection. And I believe Siraj Subuga's dear friend Robinson Obuya in Uganda is looking at his screen and having a smile, knowing he too is no visitor here at Gahanga. They all come quite often, being neighboring countries, to play for clubs. Kenneth Waiswa missed hitting the stumps from that close. Comedy of errors there, I'd say.
Well, both Emil and Emmanuel know for a fact that they just have 10 balls to close the innings, and they need to put on something that they feel would be defendable for them. And remember, they are without the all dangerous Martin, who has been taken off due to an injury. We sure hope we can get to see him bowl again in the tournament.
That takes 3 of their main quickies out of the game. Martina Kayezu, Zapibi Menyimana resting, Nyas, who had an injury, so he's not part of the tournament. So 3 major blows, and that will show the sort of pressure that the coach is under. And that's exactly why I asked him earlier on in the commentary box when he joined us, how do you manage around with that stress? He told me one thing: we've got to keep building. A solid man he is, Lee Booth.
Oh, yeah.
Kudos to him and the run on side, keeping the hope and belief alive, because that's what keeps the game running here.
You spoke about headaches. 2 coaches, 2 headaches, but both completely different. The coach of Uganda, Lawrence Mahatlane, having a selection headache.
Not completely different, completely opposite, I must say.
I am inclined to agree with you. One that can give you a migraine, and another that will just leave you in stitches.
Brain cancer. Lawrence earlier was speaking about how many players he couldn't bring on this tour, and it almost makes him feel guilty about not giving them that chance, because he's got them firing high at the peak of their performances.
Yeah, with the exception of the 2 young pace bowlers in Juma Miyaji and Cosmas Cheuta, who are currently recovering from injury. I think it has been rather interesting to see those who have deputized for them during this tournament in David Wawire and Jonathan Sebanja. Jonathan Sebanja is no stranger to the national team. He's played before and
got a hand to it. Half a chance that was, but took a dive to his right. Subuga Siraj, the fighter, takes a dive to his right, puts a hand to it, but fails to grab it in the end. Another thing I wanted to ask you is that Uganda at the moment are hosting the World Cup trophy on its tour through Africa. We've had that pleasure some time back when the trophy visited us here at Gahanga and in Rwanda. Being so close to the trophy is a completely different feeling, a feeling that no cricketer can get over.
oh yes, that much I can say. It is a very different feeling. I mean, for you, if you put it into perspective and thought that it's just a bus ride away, it makes it a whole different sort of feeling for one to have. When Rwanda hosted the trophy back home in Uganda, we felt that it was so close within reach, but still too far. And this time round, we have it back at home.
It's crazy to be that close. And Emil has sent this to the parking lot, got full treatment. Alpesh Ramjani has been deposited down the ground. Very first maximum he's received in this game, in this innings. Long levers. Strong boy Emil is. He is a spinner, but do not mistake him for a weakling. Boy can strike the ball a distant. This time doesn't get the sweet connection, but he'll charge back for the second run. Comfortably done in the end.
That was a beautiful one-handed stretch to receive that ball from standing wicket-keeper Simon Sesazi.
And with that, Team Rwanda have got 4 deliveries, legal deliveries left in this innings. And this partnership of 22 runs that we've got here has led Rwanda to believe they can put up a reputable score on board after having an extremely shaky start to their innings.
I think the loss of wickets that the loss of wickets to Rwanda that have been happening throughout the innings has definitely proved to be their downfall. Sebareme trying to get cheeky, misses the ball, but it's the big man Ronak Patel that manages to reach the boundary before the ball does.
Such a fighter.
To the amusement of the Rwandese dugout.
Such a fighter Ronak Patel is. Yesterday was unfortunate. He got struck on the head, on the grill by the day before yesterday. I keep saying yesterday because I keep forgetting yesterday was a rest day for all the cricketers and cricketing people here in Rwanda for East Africa Trophy. He was struck on the grill due to the unevenness of the pitch there. Had to get off the pitch due to the concussion requirements there. Wasn't feeling well, but glad to see him back on the pitch once again.
What could be happening here? The batter was comfortably walking away knowing that the balls are done. The umpires remained rooted.
With that, Rwanda put up 126 for the loss of 7 wickets. Here we have the scorecard. Oscar Manishimwe and Eric Dusingizimana opening up for Team Rwanda. Oscar 16 of 17 with 3 boundaries. Eric Dusingizimana 9 of 7, 2 boundaries to his name, strike rate of 128. Wilson Nitanga 6 of 9. Orchide Tuisenge, Golden Duck, the very first ball he got off. Clinton Rubagumya, the captain, bringing the balance back into the side. 28 of 39, a very mature innings by the skipper. Eric Nyumugabo, unfortunate for him to get out due to miscommunication with his partner. 22 of 16, 2 maximums. He struck 137 strike rate. Kevin Irakoze bowled by Kenneth Waiswa for 5 of 9. And then Emmanuel Sebareme and Emil Rukiriza adding valuable runs to their side. 11 of 14, Emmanuel Sebareme and Emil Rukiriza not out for 14 of 8, with 15 extras coming off the bowlers of Team Uganda. So that's that for the first innings. You see a very, very nice partnership that brought the game back to the Rwandan side. Clinton Robagumya and Eric Nyumugabo, 44 of 39, 20 of 23 by Clinton, and 22 of 16 by Eric Nyumugabo. And the last cameo by Emil Rukiriza and Emmanuel Sebareme, 24 of 17 there. Brilliantly done. And earlier on, and this likely to be the lowest score of the tournament by any team in the East Africa Trophy. There you have the match summary for Team Rwanda. Clinton Rubagumya, 28 of 39. Eric Nyumugabo, 22 of 16. Oscar Manishimwe, 16 of 17. Bowling, 20 overs. Alpesh Ramjani, 2 wickets. Giving away 28 runs for 4 overs. David Wabire, 1 wicket. Gave away 20 runs in his 3 overs. Henry Senyondo, picking up 1 wicket for 21 in his spell of 4. We will be back shortly with you for the run chase. Stay tuned to the game. This is Zaid Khan.
Nobat Abe joining Zaid. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Dafabet East Africa Trophy in the game between Rwanda and Uganda. In the first innings, Rwanda scored 126 runs in the allotted 20 overs. And Uganda will be needing 127 runs to win this match. And into bat for Uganda is Roger Mukasa, commonly known as Papa, or rather affectionately known as Papa to his teammates. And his batting partner is Simon Sesazi, the enigmatic, erratic, and often level-headed Simon Sesazi. And to get the innings started for Rwanda is the young Israel Mugisha, who has been given the new ball. The young spinner yet to be tested against the mantle of Roger Mukasa. And joining me in the comms box is Zaid. Welcome back from your break.
Thank you, Nabad. I welcome back everybody here in the run chase for Uganda, chasing down 127 in 119 balls. The youngster Israel Mugisha being given this opportunity to bowl the very first over, trying to defend the score against the likes of seniors in the Ugandan side. Roger Mukasa switch hit and gets the boundary. What a way to get started here.
This is going to be a test for the young man. It's not every day that he gets to bowl to experienced players like Roger. But this should be an interesting matchup.
Gets the length right this time around. There's a full toss offered there to Roger, and he didn't miss out on it. Showed him the boundary ropes in no time. Israel Mugisha amongst the under-19s that went to Uganda for that bad ball tournament. Again, the reverse. This time, the skipper, Clinton Rubagumia, within the infield, does a brilliant job to cut that one off. Flighted. Played on the leg side. It's got enough power behind it, and it reaches the boundary ropes yet again.
This outfield is rather quick, I must say. And not even the long legs of Kevin Irakoze were able to match up to the speed of the ball. The over ends with Uganda at 8 for no loss, just after 6 deliveries. Current run rate of 8 runs and over, needing just something shy of 6 runs.
It'll be a real test for the Rwandan side if they're to defend this Ugandan side to that total. And they've got to pick up early wickets if they are to remain within the competition here this afternoon. Simon Sesazi on strike now. Going to face Kubimana Eric, who went for 20 runs in the only over that he bowled this morning against Tanzania. Lots of comeback to be made by this young kid. As I can say, these are young claws that the coach is trying to sharpen. Watchfully played there by Simon. Dot ball.
I think the absence of Zappi, the absence of Martin, who have all been rested for this game, has provided these youngsters with the opportunity to shine. And just like the coach said, they needed to play a lot more games, and a lot more games is what these youngsters need.
Again, driven there, but straight to the bowler. Nowhere to go. Starts off with 2 dot balls. Simon Sesazi, a very nonchalant character himself. Doesn't give out too many emotions. You can never tell what he's going through his mind when he's at the crease. Goes down the leg, well collected there by the wicketkeeper, but wide it is. And again, with the limited amount of numbers you've got on board, Team Rwanda cannot afford gifting away these extras. Something the youngsters have to be really watchful of.
And when you look at the approach that Team Uganda is taking, this is one of a lot more caution. Despite the score on board, we both know Roger and Simon can hit that ball far. But if anything is to go by, in the last 9 balls we have seen, they have been rather cautious in playing every single delivery. Though anything that can be dispatched has been dispatched for 4 runs.
Much shorter to Roger this time, who plays it watchfully. A decent over by Kubimana Eric so far. I'd say the youngster has somehow adjusted his line of delivery in this particular game. He's been struggling with that in the recent games that he's played. Again, bowling that hard length, not giving any room to Roger to open up. And interestingly enough, Team Rwanda bowls their best where they are trying to defend a low total. We've seen it against Team Tanzania the other day when the game went down to the wire and Tanzania won with just 2 deliveries left in that innings. What a game that was.
It sure was extremely entertaining.
Full and flicked onto the leg side for yet another boundary. The patience pays off for Roger. Targeted on his pads. And the man loves his legs. Protecting his legs for all costs there. Just flicks it for a boundary. And the timing giving the fine leg fielder no chance whatsoever. In a flash, it reached the boundary ropes.
That was one of the most subtle flicks you could see from a batter. Both the fielders at fine leg and the one at square leg just stood by and watched it race off to the boundary. Roger Mukasa on 12 off 9 as Simon takes his time with just 1 of 3 deliveries.
And the youngster Israel Mugisha to continue his spell from the Mount End. He's bowling to Simon Sesazi, who's faced just 3 deliveries so far. Loud appeal and the finger has been raised there. Simon Sesazi has to depart for his very, very brief stay at the crease. The youngster picks up a wicket in his second over.
You can see just how pumped he was in his celebration because he knows the importance of the wicket that he just picked. And that should be a confidence boost for the young man going forward.
There you see the ball staying low there. Fair decision there, I'd say, by the on-field umpire Sibonio. Went down on one knee, tried to sweep it onto the leg side and failed to put some bat on it. Israel Mugisha again, the same sides, a bowler picking up a wicket off the very first delivery. We've seen it plenty of times just today and even the day before yesterday. The new man in, Ronald Lutaya, the man with a green pass by the Ugandan side to have a go at any team he faces.
Very exciting young man.
And there you see ball number 1.
Punches it hard.
Down the ground he goes for. Picks up a single, wasting no time. In business he is. It's a great competition this to watch. The likes of Roger Mukasa and Ronald Lutaya taking on the youngster Israel Mugisha. Was given away just 9 runs and picked up his first wicket in this game. And he's got lots of variations. He's a very, very stubborn bowler. Seen him from his younger days. And even in the nets, he's got that fighting spirit of lovely looking shot there. Lovely hands there by Roger Mukasa, rotating the strike. 16 runs on board, 3 balls left into the third over. Bowls a quicker one this time. And using the pace on offer there, Ronald strikes his first boundary there The runs are leaking for Team Uganda now. Rwanda has to do a much better job here. You cannot afford losing runs this fashion. You've got to keep it tight. We've seen by the Ugandan bowlers how tight they keep it within the power play. And the likes of Ronald Lutaya and Roger Mukasa will exploit those field restrictions. Much slower this time around and at a good length. Bowling to his field there. Good fight by the youngster, I'd say.
Yeah, I must say it is. It is a good fight, and you could see that he's actually bowling with confidence, and he's enjoying himself out there.
Just a single of the final delivery, and he's gone for 15 for 1 after having completed 2 overs of his. 3 overs down, 21 on board for the loss of 1. Roger Mukasa on 13 of 10. Ronald Lutaya 6 of 4. As of nature, Ronald Lutaya is always sent in to create that cameo, a quick fire cameo, to get the momentum shift into the innings, allowing the rest of the batters to come in and settle in easily and not worry about their strike rates.
And we all know Lutaya is the kind of batter that can actually walk in there and give you a quick fire 50, which would be good enough to disorganize the Rwanda team. And speaking of quick, he starts the first delivery of the over with a boundary right through the covers.
Absolutely smoked that, got the full face of the bat on offer, and something about lefties and the elegance to play that shot. Always very pleasing to the eye there. Races
Yes.
away all the way to the Gahanga main pavilion.
We often say how much they make cricket look so easy.
It's just the fruits of your labor, no, but the amount of work they put into getting such performances out of these games. You don't see the background story. Most spectators get to watch players on the field perform, not knowing the struggles that they've been through. And not just Team Uganda, any cricketing team playing this sport. Lots of hardship goes into this. Lots of passion, lots of time, lots of sacrifice. And again, Team Uganda providing that combination of left-hand, right-hand batsmen. Never easy to deal with, especially in this heat of the afternoon here at Gahanga, where you've got to change the fuel set every rotation of the strike.
Yeah, that is very true. And considering the fact that Uganda has 3 left-hand batters, at any one given point in the first 10 overs of the game, there's always going to be that left-right combination that can actually be a little bit confusing.
Beautiful, beautiful looking delivery there by Kubwimana Eric. Just took off at a good length by Eric Kubwimana. Roger Mukasa was expecting that to stay a bit low and couldn't get to the rise of it. Plays it down the ground, picks up a quick single. Rotating the strike. Appreciated here. Knowing as many dot balls as Rwanda can get will keep piling the pressure upon the Uganda side. So just to easen that up, they've got to rotate it. We've got the likes of Ronak Patel, also known as Ronnie, into the side, who's been playing a brilliant hand in that fashion of batting. And once again, lightning quick outfield. The fielder had a few yards to cover to his left but couldn't get to it. And the ball wins the race there. Emil Rukiriza with the effort there in the deep. But it was struck and timed so well, that shot. It reaches the boundary in no time. Second boundary. First ball and the last ball of the over go for boundaries here for Kubimana Eric. "27 runs on board for Team Uganda into the third over. A very, very comfortable ask, I must say. 100 required in 97 deliveries with 9 wickets in hand. Will the kids, the young boys, be able to pull out a magic trick here? We're yet to find out, as we're left with 2 overs of the power play still in this competition.
Speaking of the youngsters, Israel back into the attack to bowl his third over. Balls it a little short, and Roger is quick to punch that down.
Beautiful, beautiful looking shot that by Roger Mukasa, punishing the length that Israel Mugisha opted to bowl there. Have a look at that. Stays low, waits for the bounce and times it. Smacks it past that fielder who stood no chance. And again, it puts the bowler under pressure, being struck for a boundary the very first delivery. It's never easy to come back and get a hold of that over. It's more of a mental thing. Yeah. Roger knows that, and being a youngster, he's trying to apply as much as he possibly can. Loud appeal, and the finger has been raised by Sibonio, the on-field umpire. Not quite sure why he chose to bowl that. Why he chose to play that shot. Roger Mukasa disappointed with that. He's walking off.
He doesn't look happy at all. Could be that he's not happy with himself for the choice to play that shot.
Pitching in line, straight as you like it.
That is plump.
That is plump.
That is
and
plump.
I'm sitting with Norbert, who's an official himself. He's been part of this tournament as the on-field umpire. I cannot go wrong with this man sitting next to me here when it comes to making those decisions.
I would say those are some of the easiest decisions an umpire can get to make in regard to the LBW. So often we've seen, Ronak Patel comes into bat for Uganda, currently with the highest run score of 61 runs, not out, off 6 innings, with 150 runs in the tournament so far, boasting a strike rate of 114. He is one of those batters in this tournament that has got the mindset to grind, to look for the runs, and he knows when to go for the big ones as well, which makes him a very dangerous kind of a batter to bowl to.
Ronak Patel coming in now. Israel Mugisha will be bowling to him, and one of my co-commentators and the coach of women's national team Rwanda, Mr. Leonard Namburu always says this about Ronak Patel. He's got good hands and lovely placement of the ball. He places the ball into places. He's got good idea where and how to pick up gaps. And he's someone who will hurt you without letting you know the damage he's causing with the amount of singles and doubles that he puts on and occasional boundaries, because he plays around with the field and the field placement. And he loves that shot first up. Ronak Patel with his cut shots. It's a love story out there. Anything on offer with width, he'll go hard at you. However, we did see him struggle with the full-length deliveries coming into his pads. That's one area that he's been struggling with. The chase has been on and just survives that. And they pick up 2 runs. The youngster saving 2 runs for Team Rwanda there. Ronak Patel being struck on the grill last time he was facing, had to retire injured and got the concussion test done. Wasn't fit to play that game, unfortunate for him and Team Uganda. Again, lovely hands. You can see the hand-eye coordination of the big man. Might not be the quickest between the wickets, but the placement is just remarkable. We come to the end of the 5th over, 37 on board for the loss of 2. Team Uganda cruising along this run chase at the moment. 90 in 90. Norbert, what do you make out of this?
If I were a mathematician, that I'm not, 90 of 90 seems cut and dry. Just a run per ball, like they often say, run per ball will always get you there. And it is at this point that you look at Team Rwanda and they will be asking the important questions. How do we get this to get a little lower? How do we get their run rate to slow down? And it seems one of the answers they have is by returning Kubimana Eric to bowl his 3rd over, which he starts off brilliantly with a dot ball, bowling to Ronald Rutaya.
He's been bowling much better than he has previously. Impressive bowling this game. 16 runs only, and he's into his 3rd over. Something he didn't manage to do early on. But that's what the game is there for. It lets you know when you're doing right, and you get applauded for when you get your mistakes corrected, find your ways back into the game. At the moment, no pressure whatsoever on the Ugandan side. Swing and a miss there by Ronald. You've been part of the official team here. What are the few challenges that you've faced in this tournament? And could you take us through that, Norbert?
Speaking of challenges, I would say the biggest challenge we've faced so far is time management. Big man Ronak Patel coming back for a 2nd and making it into his crease to add 2 runs to Uganda's total.
Very, very nice throw there from the deep by Emil Rukiriza. He's been a very busy person throughout the course of the day. for Team Rwanda. Have placed him at the perfect place where the throws need to come in hard and quick. Gets an edge and survives this, and it will race away to the boundary. Fortunate there, Ronald Lutaya. Smile on his face, knowing he got away with that one.
So going back, you asked about some of the challenges we're facing as officials. The biggest that I mentioned is time management on the field, something that we've seen all teams suffer. I don't know whether we could attribute it to the heat or to the fact that the teams themselves are unconsciously unaware of the amount of time that they spend on the pitch. A normal T20 innings is supposed to last 85 minutes, and we've seen teams do close to 95, close to 100 minutes, which is which hasn't really been something that we as officials have had a good grip on. But going forward, we have spoken with some of the coaches, we have spoken with the captains, some of the players, and we've asked them to see that teams get to change quickly between the overs, as well as avoid wasting a lot of time. Back in the comms box with me is the coach of Team Rwanda. Welcome back, mate.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Very well.
Good to have you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Impressive start from our young man here, Israel. Not an easy task to ball in the power play to these guys, so I think he's done really well.
I agree. He's done really well. Picking up the wickets of Roger Mukasa and Simon Sesazi should be a huge confidence boost for the young man.
Absolutely, yeah. You've got to be happy with those two proper batters he's got out there. So he'll be very pleased with that, I'm sure. And again, beating the outside edge of another good player. So yeah, positive signs. I'd like to say it was a coaching master stroke that we had him on there, but we're a bit light of bowling for this game with a few knocks. So he gets his opportunity.
You call them a few knocks, but we believe those are huge knocks for your side, because those are three of your top bowlers that are missing.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm hopeful that Zappi can recover. I think hopefully we've managed to rest him just before anything serious is happening. But Martin re-injuring himself and obviously losing Ignace on day one was a big blow.
That was terrible, what happened to Ignace. And we wish him the best and the speediest of recoveries.
Absolutely, yeah. I don't think it'll be a particularly quick one, that one. But yeah, I think hopefully we'll get the surgery booked and he can come back stronger.
Great. So, Coach, what's your take on the game as it runs so far?
If I'm honest, pretty pleased with our performance. I think it's very difficult in these games, especially after the amount of games we've been playing, to go back to back. I thought, we hung in that game in the morning really well, gave ourselves a chance at the end. A couple of lusty blows at the end could have changed it. And again, from a bad start with the bat in this game, I'm pretty pleased that they battled to, at least a total that can add a little bit of pressure to the other team. Yeah. And obviously, I think we've started pretty well with the ball.
Yeah. Speaking of starting well with the ball, there's a big appeal for LBW from the young man Israel Mugisha that the umpire turns down. Coach, it is pretty interesting to see that you chose to start, I don't know if it's your choice or the captain's choice, to start Israel with the new ball. Something we haven't seen in the tournament. We've known Rwanda to use quick bowlers from the go. Is this something that you can comment about?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think from both ends of the sort of game, but from the batting side and the bowling side, we've identified one of the areas we really need to work on is both, bowling spin and also playing spin. It's no surprise if you look how often the opposition starts spin against us.
Yeah.
So that's clearly something we're keen to work on, and we know that is an area where we need to develop. But again, in this game, if I'm honest, we just talked about this being a bit of a free roll. A couple of those knocks. Let's just give it a go. Let's try a few things. And again, you can come up with all the master plans in the world, but sometimes when you're forced into a couple of things, it can work out.
Yeah, true. I think case in point was a game against Tanzania the other day when you threw Kevin in to open that batting, and he comes out scoring his highest ever total with the bat.
Yeah, back to people knowing their roles, and he's a very strong boy, is Kevin, and can clear those ropes. We often kind of throw those guys in right at the end when all the pressure's on. The game's already slipping away. They need 12, 13 and over. The field's back deep.
Yeah.
For me it was, I got told about 12 times that day that my gamble paid off. I'd like to think there was a bit more nous behind that one rather than that one being a gamble. But yeah, I think, again, you've got to stay flexible in this game, haven't you?
You've got to take the win where you can get it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we're going to need him every now and again to come in with big quick innings like that, because he can clear the ropes. So again, the more exposure they can get, the better.
Yeah. Could you comment on the fact that ever since that day, he has seemed to struggle a little bit?
Well, so he got a good 30 in the next game.
Yeah.
So I think what we've noticed as we've come up to the second pitch up here at Gahanga 2, certainly the previous pitch we were using, we're on the outside pitch now and we're on the middle pitch. I think he struggled a bit to cope with the extra bounce that appears to be up here. So I think that little bit of extra pace and extra bounce on this pitch has troubled him. So I'm sure he will be happy to get back down onto that one next week and hopefully cash in again.
Great to hear. And I bet you must be looking forward to what kind of combinations you can use in the upcoming Africa Cup qualifiers.
Yeah, really exciting for me. That we've played a lot of games recently, but those games are largely against sides I know quite a lot about. I've been fortunate to travel to Uganda many times. I've been to Botswana, we've played them, been to Kenya, we've played them. So, the three teams we'll face in the group stages are teams, I've not really come across a lot. Not seen a lot of footage of those online, so it'll be really interesting and, a different challenge.
Yep. So I'm guessing there's quite a lot for you to learn from this tournament?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I think one thing that these guys have, and I think we've seen it in the couple of big opportunities we've had to win the game, is that they haven't got over the line often enough, and the more times we get closer to that, the easier it should be eventually to get over that line. So I've been really impressed with kind of how they've stuck at things. It's it's always difficult when you're the big underdog in a tournament. We're not particularly expected to beat these if you look at the world rankings and where everybody is. So part of my job really is getting these guys to just believe in where we're heading.
Yeah.
And everything I've asked of them and every kind of data point we've asked them to increase, they have done. So I'm really happy about that.
Yeah. Speaking of, is another youngster in the bowling, Emil Rukiriza. He's been brilliant in the entire tournament. This is just his first over. He's only given out 4 runs. And I've seen him go from strength to strength, bowling with a lot more confidence with every single game he goes into. Is this something that you're drumming into the youngsters?
I think, if I'm honest, certainly with Emil, who I think is a great talent, this is where, playing games has really come to the fore. So he made his debut, my first game when I was in charge in Kenya, took a couple of big wickets. Collins Aboya was his first wicket, I believe. And, it was interesting for him to say in a team meeting after that these guys are just humans, we can get them out. So I think if anything, it's, he's already got that talent. I think he's a fantastic player. We spoke a little bit about the last couple of days where I think he, from his high standards, he wasn't quite at his best, dropped a few short. But so far today, I thought he was brilliant this morning and a good first over there.
Yep. And ladies and gentlemen, into ball into ball the ninth over is Emmanuel Sebareme, another spinner that the captain has chosen to use. And from the looks of things, the spin seems to be working for Team Rwanda, with Ronak Patel, Ronald Rutaya seemingly stagnant on the wicket. The runs seem to have dried out, and the asking rate is currently going a little higher. Big shout for LBW, and he's got him. That makes 3 wickets that have fallen for Uganda, and all 3 wickets have been trapped LBW.
Yeah, interesting. I'll look forward to seeing that one on the replay, because I think there was a little bit of turn there. I think there might have actually been too much turn, but yeah, positive signs that the ball is spinning. And another thing that we've talked about a lot is, you know, if these guys are spinners, I want them to spin the ball. So encouraging signs to see it turn. Yeah.
Well, an in to replace Ronak Patel is another dangerman, Alpesh Ramjani. We saw him bat brilliantly yesterday, getting 55 runs off just 41 deliveries. Could he be the batter that Uganda needs to change this game for them?
Yeah, he's been certainly the standout in the innings as against us so far. He scored, you know, good runs and scored them quickly. So I wouldn't mind seeing the back of him pretty quickly if there was any chance. That would be good. But, you know, you never know. Hopefully we can get the ball turning away from him. But no, he's batted and bowled superbly well in this tournament, a fine cricketer. And I thought that catch earlier on in the game was also world class as well. So he's been a real thorn in our side.
Yeah, pretty athletic guy. Pretty athletic. That was a blinder of a catch.
Yeah, it was. So it was just in front of our dugout as well. And, you know, we were just watching. I just like, it's just got enough to get over him, but somehow he got up there. It was a fantastic catch, was that?
And one-handed too.
I know, just to make it look even better.
That was more like rubbing salt into your wounds, right?
Yeah, it was a fantastic grab.
Yeah.
So let's be positive that he's due a failure with the bat against us, hopefully.
Big shot again, but there was bat to it, so
yeah, big inside edge on that one, but he's looked so good against us, just playing straight, playing hard and straight. It's been good to watch. Hopefully, you know, talked a lot to our young boys about watching how he goes about the game.
Ball's a loose one down the leg that Alpesh is all too comfortable guiding to the boundary.
Yeah, too easy that one, straying onto the pads. He's going to put that one away all day.
All day, yeah.
No fielder out there deep backward of square, so an easy boundary picked up there.
And I don't think as a bowler you'd want to be bowling that way to a new batter. You'd probably just want to peg him down, get him to block as many as he can, because we all know that the more dots that get out there, the more pressure you pile up onto the batting side.
Definitely. All we've got to look to try and do is just creep that run rate up and up until it gets, you know, interesting, we would hope.
That was beautifully punched through the covers. Get an easy 2, and you can see the bowler Emmanuel Sebareme is not happy with Kevin for letting that one just go by him. You can see the instructions that he's giving. He'd rather have somebody outside, because he knows he's not going to get that ball to turn too big to get Alpesh to edge it into the slip. So, coach, just to ask, for batters like Alpesh, batters like Ronald Rutaya, Do you always have some kind of a game plan in mind for them?
Yeah, we do. I think, we've got a game plan for everybody, but I think as much as anything, the game plans are one thing. Was it Mike Tyson said everybody has a plan until you get punched in the mouth? So I think as much as anything, a plan is one thing, but having that flexibility and that adaptability is really important. And back to why having lots of games is good for that. These guys getting lots more exposure to playing the game, different game situations and how they react, and is what's really important to me. But the one thing we've talked all the time about Alpesh really is how he just, the boundaries are there, but our spinners have found it so hard to tie him down, and them last two balls are classic examples why. If it's not a boundary ball, he's just been pushing it down the ground. Ones and twos rotating the strike, so we're happy to keep him playing straight, but he does it very well.
Yep, it's a piece of brilliant batting from him, I must say. With Emil back into the attack, balls one a little bit wider. Cuts it, but Emmanuel Sebareme is there to stop that ball from racing to the boundary.
Just shows you the fine margins you have against a good player. That was only fractionally short, but still cut it beautifully.
And again, this is something that we spoke about with Zaid earlier. The Ugandan batters seem to find the singles each time they punch that ball to where Kevin is. So as coach, do you think that is something you need to look into?
Absolutely. I think, again, like we talked about with spin, really, from both sides of that, I think our guys are far too often playing nice, pretty-looking shots as we punch it at fielders. I think, the more experience of these guys will show you that they know how to play with the slightly softer hands, just take that bit of pace off the ball and turn them dots into ones and those ones into twos.
Yeah.
So all of these, these are all these little things that we're looking at really, is how we can claw, all of these extra runs that we need to start matching these guys.
Great to hear.
Another good over again so far from Emil here. What I do like about how he's bowling at the moment is he's trying to be a spinner. He isn't just darting it in. I like how he's got a little bit of flight. Hopefully he'll get a little bit of turn as well.
Yeah, and he's got the quick one too, that he occasionally delivers. That gets hit to the longer boundary. 2 runs to bring the over to a close. That's 5 runs off of that over. Emil with 2 overs bowled so far, just 9 runs. He is bowling really, really great. So we're at the halfway mark of the innings. 10 overs gone. Uganda are 63 for 3. They need 64 runs off 60 balls. I'd like to welcome Zaid back. Coach, it's been great having you.
Absolute pleasure.
Any last words? Last 10 overs?
Well, no, just fingers crossed for a few more wickets. You never know. Hopefully Zaid comes in with a bit of commentator's curse and finds me one.
You do know it can go both ways, right?
Well, that's the problem. I got us a wicket earlier.
Welcome back, Zaid.
Thank you very, very much. No, but it's been an interesting run chase here. Low scores can be quite impressive. Very, very interesting low scores can be at times. Team Uganda losing 3 wickets. 64 on board. Emmanuel Sebareme, having picked up 1 wicket, has given away just 1 run in his previous over. Just 8 runs in his previous over. We've still got Ronald Lutaya, who's hanging in there, playing unlike his natural innings, but very mature of him. Tossed up once again and plays it straight to Kevin Nirakoze in covers. Trying to find the angles, especially that side of the pitch. No, but it tends to skid in more than the Mount Hill side. And never easy because Emmanuel Sebareme has that natural drift in the air with the ball coming in and turning away as an off spinner. Lovely, lovely attempt there.
That's hit hard. That's full toss. Did not get the deserved punishment it should have.
Would love to see that again. What a reflex by the young Emmanuel Sebareme. And takes it onto the leg side this time. Confusion between the fielders in the deep there. And the decision has been made. The umpires have lifted the arms for a maximum. Have a look at that. Flighted once again in the arc. And it goes the distance. And two fielders was in the hands. Eric Kubimana drops that one and it goes past him, helping it on its way to a maximum. These are the key opportunities provided, and if you don't grab them, you end up missing out.
I think we saw this earlier in Rwanda's innings. Everything that was up in the air, the Ugandan fielders were quick to take those chances. We saw Alpesh Ramjani with a brilliant and beautiful catch. We also saw Roger Mukasa take another beautiful catch. And it's chances like these that often win you games.
But again, the likes of Ronald Lutaya, you wouldn't want to drop his catches. You know the sort of attack he can bring to your side.
He is a destructive batter. And any chance that goes put down is an opportunity for him to come back and hit you hard.
Emil Rukiriza from the road end now plays it into the gap. Lovely effort there, but it still reaches the boundary. Long, long day Eric Kubimana is having out there in the field. Boundaries coming in easy this time off Ronald Lutaya, and he's into Alpesh Ramjani, timing that towards the offside and beating that fielder in the deep for yet another boundary. Ronald Lutaya on 40 as Alpesh is on 9 of 7 deliveries here.
I think it is good to note that prior to that boundary, Emil has been bowling brilliantly, getting just 9 runs off his first 2 overs. This being the very first boundary off of his bowling.
I think from here on, the plan is simple by the Ugandans. Strike 1 boundary in an over and keep the strike rotating to avoid any sorts of pressure. As easy as you like it, playing it on the ground, not taking any risks. Calculative, smart cricket being played here.
Yeah, and it's looking more and more like a practice session for the batters out in the middle.
if there's someone who can bring a change to this, is Emil. We've seen him picking up wickets when needed. Flighted, played onto the leg side. There is protection there. Wilson Nitanga picks that up and chucks it back. A decent over there. We're done with 11 overs here into the 12th. Sebareme coming back into the attack from the mount end. He'll be bowling to Alpesh Ramjani and Ronald Lutai, who's set on 40. Few field adjustments being made there by Sebareme, and helping him is the wicketkeeper Oscar Manishimwe.
And I think he'll be a lot more comfortable bowling to the two left-handers, knowing that anything he delivers with a bit of turn on it is just going to always leave the batters, considering the fact that he bowls a lot of off-spin.
Two lefties out there in the middle. We're into the 13th over here. 79 on board, make that 78 with that rotational strike, and bringing the danger man Ronald Lutaya. There's been a slight mistake in the system there by the scorers. Ronald Lutaya is on 38 at the moment and has been knocked off by Emmanuel Sebareme. Much needed wicket breakthrough for the run side here. Ronald Lutaya has to depart for 38 of 34 balls with 4 boundaries and 1 maximum. Has been a very supportive innings by Ronald. Skids on to the stumps this time, playing it on the back foot. Lack of judgment there by Ronald. Uganda 80 for 4. And in the middle, you've got the game changer, Kenneth Waiswa, joining Alpesh Ramjani now.
The man with the most man of match awards in the tournament. He's been brilliant all through.
Kenneth Waiswa, 8 matches, 7 innings, 154, 66, not out being his best in this tournament, averaging 30.8, strike rate of 143.9, 150 to his name. Let's wait and see, does he make an impact here with the bat? We've seen him do it with the ball earlier on. Sebareme has been bowling exceptionally well here. 16 runs only he's given away and picked up 2 key wickets. He's into his 3rd over, 3 deliveries left here. The field is being set aggressive here by the captain. Plays it on the front foot there. Straight to the bowler once again. Do you believe the Ugandan side is pacing this run chase much slower than they are capable of?
What I see is, yes, they are chasing this a little slower, but then again, they could be going on there with a different kind of a mindset to them. Throughout the tournament, we've seen them come in, score quick runs. I think they're the one team that almost got 200 runs the other day. But seeing them bat like this, you definitely know that they are not just going in there to throw away their wickets. They are there to try and get the best out of the game, to see that they finish. I think they are playing with the comfort in knowing that they are top of the table and anything that happens here will probably not do any damage to them.
Lovely placement there by Kenneth. Piercing those two fielders, allowing the rotation of strike. There we have the manual scoreboard. And a few cricketers of the under 19 and the women side helping. Very happy to be volunteering in this tournament to help us through it. Kudos to the young ones.
You speak of volunteers. Just the other day, I did get to see a young girl out there in the center marking the creases. It's not something that I get to see every day. I must say kudos to them. It's good to see that the spirit of the game is not dying out anytime soon.
Well, that young girl you saw is none other than the curator herself, Alice Ikuzwe. A very well-known women's side cricketer. She's well known around here at Gahanga. Plays impressive cricket in the women's elite. She was the captain of a team that was taking part. Beautiful looking shot that by Kenneth. Plays it down the ground. And it goes all the way for a 4. Emil Rukiriza
Looks him in the eyes and says, "Hit this if you can." And Kenneth just looks away, reorganizes himself, just to give himself that bit of focus.
flighted once again and goes past the keeper's gloves there. The chase is on. Orkide to Isenge chases that and tosses it back to the keeper. They've picked up 2 runs very quick between the wickets. Comfortable double there by the Ugandans. And the runs seem to be on par here as Uganda require 40 of 39. A wicket here could make things very, very interesting. Could spice it up for us. As I speak of a wicket, Kenneth Waiswa thinks otherwise and goes for a boundary. Well swept.
I was going to say a little fancy with his hands and his feet.
Proper cricketing shot.
Yep.
Always respected on a pitch like that. It's a cricketing pitch. You play proper skillful shots here, you'll get full value out of it. And on that occasion, Kenneth Waiswa not falling short of any entertainment. This is what we turn up for. This is what the crowd here at Gahanga turns up to watch.
Yeah, and we've seen him on a couple of occasions play some of the most beautiful shots in the game. And he plays them with such confidence.
And from here on, there is no stress, as you can see. That was the second boundary struck in this over. Uganda 91 for 4. They've gotten into the 90s in the 14th over. It's pretty rare. It's pretty rare to find the Ugandan side crossing the 100 mark in the 14th, 15th over
Oh yeah,
of a T20 game.
it's often done before the 10th, about the 8th or the 9th over. But looking at this, they have taken their sweet time. And I think knowing the fact that they were chasing a very small score, they probably went in there knowing that they did not want to embarrass themselves by losing quite the number of wickets early.
And again, kudos to the youngsters here fighting hard for Team Rwanda. They've been bowling really, really well. Yes, you're going to be hit as you're playing a quality side, but the intent of trying to restrict these runs has been no short of remarkable. Putting a low score, like I mentioned earlier, Rwanda playing amongst their best cricket when they're under pressure, trying to defend a low score. We saw it against Tanzania. We're seeing it against Uganda here now. In the air, call sort of catch it, one bounce, and the fielder picks it up from the deep. And have a look at that throw, straight into the hands of the keeper. Strong boys, I tell you.
Strong arms. It's not that often that you see players do that. Most times you're going to hear, you'll hear guys in the outfield shouting one bounce, probably to protect the fielder from damaging an arm during the throw. But looking at the young boys of Rwanda, they are eager and happy to show you that they have the energy to throw it all the way. So that was the end of the 14th over. Uganda at 94 for 4. Alpesh Ramjani 18 of 14. Kenneth Waiswa 10 of 8. Uganda need 33 runs in 36 balls. Emmanuel Sebareme back into the attack to bowl his last over.
Eric Nyomugabo puts himself on the line, puts his body on the line for his team to not give away any runs. Just a rotation of strike. That brings Alpesh Ramjani. He loves playing that inside-out shot. We're yet to see that from him.
I think he's batting a lot more cautiously this time round. I think if you notice something, the mentality that these batters carry into the game when they're chasing a score is different from when they're setting a score.
Well, absolutely. It's got to be that way. And it was a lovely, lovely sleep there. The wicket-keeper had to run all the way to the boundary to collect that, as the fielder did exceptionally well there to stop the ball from touching the boundary ropes.
And the batters managed to get 3 runs from there.
It's not easy running between these wickets at that intensity,
In this heat.
especially with the heat provided.
Yeah. But you have to give credit where it's due. I think when you look at Team Uganda, I would say in this tournament so far, they are by far the most, the fittest team out here. You see them run twos like as if they just started playing the tournament. And another slip up there goes through 2 fielders to give Kenneth Waiswa another boundary to his total.
Fumble that shouldn't be accepted by the Rwandan side in the field. You've not got enough runs in the bag to defend that or to allow such sort of fielding. And 2 fielders getting a hand to that, and none of them could stop it from getting to a boundary.
Well, a lot more like 2 fielders failing to get a hand to that.
Could have said helping it on its way to the boundary. Emmanuel Sebareme, 25 runs is given away. 2 wickets is picked up. He's in his final over here with 3 deliveries left. And again, plays it in the covers, rotation of strike, keeps the scoreboard ticking.
I think it is rather admirable to say when you see Team Uganda batting with that mindset, with that they seem, all their batters seem to be matured in their minds, that they know when I get a boundary, I shouldn't straight up go and hit the next one. I should maybe look for a single, probably bring my partner onto the strike. And as you can see, that seems to work perfectly for them.
The inside out comes as expected, and it goes for a maximum. Beautiful, beautiful flow of the bat by Alpesh Ramjani, and hits it on the banks of Gahanga. Goes the distance. Just beautiful to watch. Gets underneath it and elevates it just enough to carry the distance. A pleasure to watch a cricketer play that shot. Textbook material it is.
If Coach Booth was here, he would have said commentator's curse.
Turns this one away. Fortunate, gets away with that. And now with that, we've come to the end of the 15th over. 109 on board. 18 runs required.
"18 runs needed. "30 balls is what they have. And the captain, Clinton, decides to take matters into his own hand and brings himself into the attack. We've often seen Clinton come in and bowl a couple of good overs in the death. And as we speak right now, the partnership between Alpesh Ramjani and Kenneth Waiswa is of 29 runs off 15 balls. The two batters out there, seemingly taking this over the rope for Uganda, building that partnership with a little patience and hitting the balls that need to be hit. And with the very first delivery from Clinton, dot ball, beats Kenneth Waiswa completely. But he's all too happy to watch that sail past his wickets into the keeper's gloves. And that's a second delivery that beats the batter. He stands in there looking on and wondering what could be going wrong. We've seen Clinton pick a couple of very important wickets for his side, and him taking on the mantle to bowl this over could mean that he sees the opportunity to come and break this partnership, for he sees that this is the partnership that could get Uganda over the line. And there it is again. Third delivery, third miss. That's 3 straight dot balls. Clinton seemingly getting into the mind of Kenneth Waiswa. And you can see Alpesh Ramjani walking on to Kenneth, whispering a few words. As it stands, the equation is 18 needed off 27 balls. Kenneth knows this. Rwanda in the fielding know this. And they're not giving up the fight just yet. We have seen games that have gone to the death involving Rwanda. And unfortunately, one sneaks past the wicketkeeper to the boundary for 4. Kenneth Weiss on the wicket, seemingly asking the umpire whether that was wide. He says no, it was just a bye. The replays seem to show that was wide.
Umpires having a very, very heavy lunch there. Not watchful of what's really happening there. I should have been given a wide. Not quite sure what was running through the mind of Gusto. You being an umpire yourself, what would you like to say about that decision?
I've often seen decisions like that go against a batting side where a wide is not called. And sometimes it also goes down to the concentration of an umpire on the field. Often in games like this, late into the afternoon, with a little bit of heat, probably a good meal, sometimes you find that the concentration becomes a little lacking. And also, it becomes tricky to make some calls. But in this case, I must say that was rather disappointing from the umpire not to see that that ball was way wide off the mark and it should have been called wide. And I think Kenneth Weiso was right to ask the umpire whether that was wide or not. And with the end of the 16th over, Uganda just need 12 runs off 24 balls. Kevin Irakoze is brought into the attack to bowl his leg spin. And to face him on the other side is Alpesh Ramjani. So with 12 runs, do you think this could end in this over? $115 for 4 is what Uganda currently sit on. And I asked the question earlier.
You've got to elevate your voice with that. Maximum coming off the blade of Alpesh Ramjani. Beautiful, beautiful shot that was, given the treatment it deserved. Tossing it full to a player of that caliber. And with that, of 19, he gets into the 30s, 34 to be precise. Dispatches it down to the nets off the blade of Alpesh. Beautiful looking shot. And Uganda now require just 6 runs off 23 deliveries. This partnership has been really fruitful and mature innings by Kenneth Waiswa as well, once again. Kevin Irakoze with a dot ball there. But in all honesty, you've not got enough runs to defend there.
No, not at all.
So it's really harsh for the bowlers as well, because the batsmen didn't do their part, and it's a big ask for the bowlers, especially youngsters trying to defend a total of that sort by a mature side as an opponent. 122 on board, 4 wickets down. Team Uganda need just 5 now. The countdown has begun.
Yeah, and I think Rwanda were about 40 runs short of a defendable score. And 126 is rather small.
Gets a bottom edge. Lucky. Goes past the gloves of the keeper there.
You know, Zaid, there's runs off the middle of the bat and there's runs off any other part of the bat. They will still count to the total. So they get 1 run off of that, bring them a lot closer to winning this game.
Earlier on, had a discussion with the Rwanda coach, Lee Booth. Asked him, do you believe cricket these days with a short format is a batsman's game? And he replied, indeed. With that beautiful shot off the back foot by Alpesh Ramjani, Uganda win by 6 wickets.
And here's the match summary for Uganda. Roger Mukasa, 18 of 15 balls. Simon Sesazi, 1 of 4. Ronald Rutaya, doing great, scoring 38 of 35 balls. Ronak Patel, unfortunate, 3 of 8. Alpesh Ramjani, Kenneth Waiswa, the standout batters, with Alpesh 39 of 22, Kenneth Waiswa 18 of 17, getting Uganda over. In the bowling for Rwanda, Israel Mugisha bowled 4 overs, 22 runs, picked 2 important wickets. Kuimana Eric, 3 overs, 22 runs, did not pick anything. Emmanuel Sebareme, another of the standout bowlers for Rwanda, with 4 overs, 32 runs and 2 wickets. The other bowlers, Clinton, Kevin, all bowling an over each. Clinton, I think he brought himself in a little too late, bowled 1 over, just went for 2 runs. Emil Rukiriza with 4 overs, 28 runs, no wicket. As things stood, Uganda lost their first wicket with 14 on board, second wicket with 35, and then 51 for the loss of 3, 80 for the loss of 4. And here's a match summary. Rwanda 126 for 7 with the top batters Clinton Rubagumya 28 of 39, Eric Niyomugaba 22 of 16, Oscar Manishimwe 16 of 17. And in the bowling for Uganda in the innings, Alpesh Ramjani 2 of 28, David Wabwire 1 of 21, 1 wicket, 20. Henry Senyondo 1 wicket, 21 runs off 4 overs. And in Uganda's innings, 127 for 4, Alpesh Ramjani again shining with the bat, scoring 39 of 22. Ronald Lutaya 38 of 35, Roger Mukasa 18 of 15. With the bowling, Israel Mugisha, the youngster, 22 runs, 2 wickets in 4 overs. Ladies and gentlemen, Uganda wins the game by 6 wickets, pushing them further up the log, and Rwanda suffering yet another defeat. And thank you all for watching. This has been the Dafabet East Africa Trophy match between Uganda and Rwanda. And we will be going on to the presentation for the man of match to be done by Zed. I thank you. My name is Norbert. Until tomorrow, where Uganda will be playing in a doubleheader, and Matches start at 9:30 in the morning. That's Rwanda time. If you're in Kampala, that will be 10:30. Have a good evening.